Alright guys, gonna give you a quick rundown of how I did this. You can see all those airlines I replaced, and yeah, so that instead of having all of this kind of lines, the older style rubber lines, I switched everything over to plastic, like newer style. And as you can see there, some of the ones I didn't replace. I think 3 lines I didn't replace. On the, well actually no, this is a oil. That's the oil pressure that comes from the motor going up to the gauge. So those two there are the ones that go to the transmission. Those are the only ones that I haven't actually switched over, and everything else other than that, it's been changed over to rubber. If you can see there, I literally changed everything over to a plastic line. So everything else is actually rubber line, which that's what the newer truck uses, and you're a lot more likely to find everywhere instead of those other lines. Now, on these older trucks, this one didn't come with. I'm doing the AC right now, too. So, but yeah. So this one did not come with an air dryer. This is an AD9 style air dryer. It's not a actual Bendix, but it's a Bendix like product. When I ordered it, I didn't realize that it wasn't a Bendix. But anywho, I just made a mount for it. I went up and what I do when I need something made, I usually make a cardboard template and then take it down to whoever can cut it for me. So this one was actually supposed to be back here a little bit, but since I had to run all those lines, I moved it forward a little bit, and that way it's been like this for like 2 years. And if you notice there, if you can see there's 2 bolts there, 2 main bolts holding. It's a pretty thick piece of rubber, and then I just cut those mounting holes there. So this is how this worked. It didn't come with an air dryer, so I put one on there just to make sure that my air system, to actually take care of all the components on my air system. Now, what I did, I could have put it in the other side, but because I got my wiper, I decided to put on this side. Now, this here, well, if you're doing that, you pretty much know that, just to add, if your truck doesn't come with one and you just want to add one, you just put the supplying. There's gonna this line here comes from the compressor, and then the dry air, well, has gone to the filter here. This one goes to your main wet tank. So that one from the air dryer will come, I believe it's this one here. So I literally ran that one to here, and this two here would go to your other tanks, which it would be that one there and another one. So you usually have two tanks. Now, all the air system comes. So this one, when it originally came, it came directly from there to here, which back in the day, or they used to call it the wet tank, because this is the one where all the condensation would happen, and you just drain it out, every day. But I wanted to keep the system a little better, so I went ahead and added an air dryer. All right, so I went ahead and put, I always try to use fully brass fittings. They're a little bit more expensive than like plastic and brass, but this one's, I don't ever have to mess with them. Sometimes I have to use quick connects, Sometimes I have to use quick connects there, but I usually try to go with those kinds. So this is pretty much how the system works. The air line will come from the air dryer here, and those two will go out toward the other two tanks. Now, on the other two tanks, right when they go into, they have a check valve. That all it does is just keeps the air from coming back into the wet tank. It will go to here and will go to the other one. Now, when it comes to running the wires from there back, what I did is, if you can see those quick connects there, sorry about that. If you can see those quick connects there, what I did is I went ahead and see how I just got an adapter that will go from this to a male, right? And then you're able to put another female on there and put it up and butt it up against each other. So whenever you were pulling on that cable from its original place, you can pull it through. You're just able to attach whatever line you're running in its place, right? So you will have that one like that. You will have your connection. Then you will have a female, two females, and then you'll be able to put that male into the other female. And essentially, you just hook up your line, like 1/4 or 3/8 or whatever you're running, into there, and you're just able to pull it. That's how I was able to get all the way from back there to all these lines up here, and that's how I pull all the lines to it. And you just pull it in its place, right? So you see that? And I run all the lines that will control my my fifth wheel, and that will go up to the air tanks and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the rundown, you know. So when it comes to this little airlines here, so this one will go to the back of the governor, and it will tell it that this one is already reached 120, and then it will shut off the compressor. And then the other line from the governor, these two lines, one of them will go from that wet tank, the other one will go to the actual air dryer that will purge it. Yeah. Another thing is that I replace all of the valves. I think that's tractor protection valve. See, I changed everything over. And I'm gonna make a list on how is it that I'm actually gonna make a list. So on the description, I'm gonna put some links there. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to do an affiliate kind of, so that I can make some links. That way it helps out the channel. But yeah, I just finally figured out how to do that. So some of you guys don't have, at least this tractor did not come with a valve to dump the air. So all I did is I put one of these things here. When it's in, it's holding air. If you pull it, then the airbags will drop. This, I did it when I was doing end dump with it. That way I didn't have to run all of the lines forward, and I could have, I needed to dump the air so I can raise the bed up and stuff. I actually went ahead and put, you can see all the old airlines and stuff that I run up to it. This I think this is like 2017 when I did this, I believe so. It's kind of hard to see, but see all the lines have been replaced. Doing the AC right now on this thing, trying to get that sorted out. All right, guys. So when it comes to the airline here, this is how I ran my system. I ran 5/8 lines for the main supply lines, which the ones that will go from the compressor, the air dryer here, and from here supplying air to the other two tanks. I ran 5/8. And that's that's because it would it would do a bigger air volume. Now for everything else, I ran a quarter line and some halves. So if you see there, some of them are 3/8. If it was related to the air brake system, I used 3/8. If it was like a signal, like a signal air supply line, then I ran a quarter. Those don't need to be that thick. They're only giving the signal to the to the brake line so they can engage and disengage. You can see it right up there. But yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'm gonna make a whole list of all the stuff you're gonna need. On the 5/8 line, I ended up using about 40 feet, I want to say. I'm gonna actually on the list, on the link, I mean on the description, I'm gonna go ahead and make a list of like what was like the what I ended up using. Some of it I used off of Amazon, but if you actually get the big rolls, like the 50 and 100 feet rolls, it would actually way cheaper than going to the store and getting it. That's why I try to. It's taking a little bit of a while longer to do this video because I'm trying to find a better source, better prices. Because I ended up spending a little bit. I spent a lot when I did mine, when I went to the store and get it, compared to when I started ordering like the 100 foot line, like the 100 feet of line from Amazon or online, or like when I was able to buy in bigger sections. Even though I ended up with a little bit more, but you can always use it for something else, like running all the quarter lines from here all the way to the front and stuff. I mean, all that if you have extra, you can run stuff like that. Like I ran just about everything that runs on air is on plastic lines now, and it's just because it's a lot easier to find out on the road. See, all their lines, I mean all plastic lines for the air. I did ended up going from rubber here. I like for the chambers, when I replaced the chambers, I went actually to to find a pre-made ones. I just measure them and did it like that for the for the ones that go to the chamber. I actually redid like all the ones in the back too. All of this lines too, all of that, they go up top. But yeah, that I did rubber. I know Twin Sticks did the other lines that you can actually cut yourself, which it was actually better. I didn't know about that then, but So yeah, guys, put any questions that you have on the comment section, and I'll get to it whenever I can. And I'm gonna make on the description, I'm gonna make a list of what my initial purchase was when it comes to the fittings and stuff like that. It's probably gonna be. I mean, I'm gonna actually make a list of all this stuff, because I do have a list on my phone when I was going through it, and it took me about a weekend of running most of the lines, and then a couple of days in between when I was off of work, that I was able to come back and do some of the other lines. And one thing that I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you about running the lines, it will be that run, like it takes a lot longer, but so you won't get the lines crossed. Whenever you're doing all of this, just run one line at a time. I know they're like, oh, you know, everybody works different, but so I wouldn't cross any airlines and have my system not work like it's supposed to. I went ahead one by one. So for example, like the ones that go underneath the cab for the brakes and stuff, I ran it like, all right, so let's say the one for the brakes, one for one of the brakes. So I ran it all the way from there, all the way forward. And all I did is, you know, like how I told you that I kind of put it back, bat it up and like extend it. It's kind of hard to explain. Let me see. All right, so this is how I ran the difficult lines from front to back. Let's say this, you know, this is the plastic line. This will be the new line. This will be the old line, the old airline, whatever line you're running. This is how I ran mine. So this right here will be the old line. I just got a coupler that will be in the new line, and this will be the actual fitting that I'll be replacing right here. So let's say how I show you the other ones from the firewall, how I ran them all the way up and route them all the way how they were supposed to be ran, so I don't like misplace them, whatever. So this was a new line, and I just tied it up like with this thing, and this will be the old line. So what I would do is like I would go all the way to the other end where I will start pulling, so that, you know, this will feed the new line all the way through where the old one was. So I didn't have to like routing and all that stuff. So there was only one line that you're probably gonna have to take out, or one of the thick lines. When you start replacing the fuel line, I redid all of my lines, the fuel lines and everything. So when I routed this is gonna be a 1/4 inch or 3/8 or 5/8 or whatever, or 1/2 inch that you're running. It's gonna be a lot thinner than the old rubber lines. So then that's all I did. I just went ahead and hooked up the new one up to this. The old one I pulled, and then as you're pulling it, it will feed it through where in the place where the old one was. So, you know, if you get big rolls, I got, when I was doing that with a 1/4 inch, I had about 100 feet roll. So I just unrolled it, rolled it all the way back to the truck, and then I just pull it through in its place, and that's all I had to do for most of the lines. Now, when you do the fuel lines, that's a totally different thing. When it comes to the plastic lines, this is the setup that I use to pull them through. This is what I was trying to explain about running the lines from front to back. If you have, let's imagine this one is a quick connection, kind of like the ones, just a quick connection for the airline. If you were, let's say if I was running this line from front to back, whatever I want to run it in the same place, the only thing I would do is right here, it will be a regular fitting like this. Instead of having this one here, you will have two females will either be 3/8 or 1/4 or whatever you were running. It's mostly those, the 3/8 and 1/4. Right here will be a female to female, and then on there we'll just have the line connected to it, so that I'm able just to pull it. See, these are the rolls that I got. It's 100 feet of 1/4 inch for my 1/4 inch, and then I got, you know, this kinds of rolls for like all the rest, like 1/2, like 5/8 or 1/2 inch. So yeah, hopefully that helped you guys.